Hey crafters! Today we're going to play with some gemstones to make a cool necklace using our bezel jewelry. First thing, we'll go ahead and set our tools to the side. So we'll put our UV flashlight on the side and our UV resin. We'll go ahead and move the tools as well. We won't need those just yet. And then we'll also move our little necklace piece out of the way. Next, we'll go ahead and grab our UV resin tape. Go ahead and just peel off a little bit of that. If you can't find the end of it, you can always use one of your handy tools as well. When you're peeling the tape, if it's brand new, make sure you peel past the yellow line. You don't want to use that yellow line. We'll go ahead and cut off just a little piece, enough to cover the bezel. Once you have that little piece of resin tape cut off, go ahead and put your bezel on top of it. Try not to touch inside of the center of it so you don't leave any fingerprints behind. And then you can take your wand and push down on the bezel to make sure that it's flat against the tape. That way it prevents any leakage from coming through. Next, we'll go ahead and put on our gloves because it's time to play with resin. Now, you can use one glove if you're really careful, or two gloves if you're not sure how careful you're going to be. We'll go ahead and put on two just in case. Next, you're going to want to grab your UV resin, and we'll do just a very thin line to cover the bottom of it. We're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of resin into the bezel. You'll notice that the resin starts to self-level on its own. Now, if you'd like, you can be patient and let it go ahead and spread on its own, or you can use your wand to go ahead and do that as well. We're going to use our wand for the purpose of this video. You can use either your pointy end or your flattening end, whichever one is more convenient for you. And we're going to just spread that UV resin over the bottom of the bezel. We want to make sure that this is a nice smooth backing for your jewelry piece. And remember, this doesn't just have to be a jewelry piece, it could also be a keychain. It's whatever you want it to be. Make sure that the resin goes all the way to the corners. If you need to pour more, you can, but try to work with what you have first. It's easier to add more than it is to take away. Once you have end-to-end coverage, go ahead and just set your little wand down. I usually like to leave mine on the tape to go ahead and keep things clean. And you'll grab your flashlight. We're going to go ahead and take this flashlight, hold it nice and high, and cure for about 60 seconds. Now, the reason why we're curing this backside first is we want to make sure that the back of our jewelry or keychain is nice and smooth. So this is going to act as the backing for your pendant or your keychain. Now, as you start to cure, make sure you get closer and closer to the object. That way you're slowly introducing the UV wattage to the item. You should end about an inch or two away from the item. Once that 60 seconds is up, go ahead and turn off your flashlight and give it a little knock. Sounds like it's nice and dry, so we can go ahead and move forward. Now we're going to use the resin to act as glue for our stones. You can go ahead and just do a couple of drops and then use your wand to spread it over the bezel piece. This is only going to act as glue. You don't need a whole lot of resin. So go ahead and take your little wand and just spread that out over the bezel. And then we'll start to go ahead and put in our favorite gemstones. When you're working with gemstones, it's up to you how you want to do this, but you can either pick gemstones that mean something to you or just colors you like. I'm going to go ahead and take off a glove so I can go ahead and make sure I pick the right stones. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to how you place these in there. Really, whatever you want to do to make it meaningful to you is what you can do. If you get any on your tape, don't worry, you can just pick those back up and put them right back in your bezel piece. And let's say one of your rocks goes the way you don't want it to, you can go and just push that right back into where it should be. Alright, next color I'm going to add is a little bit of this purple, which is also the amethyst. Now you can make this minimalist or you can make this full of gemstones, completely up to you. I'm going to add a little bit more of this pink quartz here. Now remember, you can really take your time with these. You don't need to have, or you don't need to worry about a work time because it's UV resin. As long as it's not getting hit by direct sunlight or UV light, you have all the working time that you need. Once you have all your gemstones placed the way you like, go ahead and just press them down a little bit to make sure they're stuck in the resin. And then we'll go ahead and give them a nice cure. You'll want to cure these again for another 60 seconds. And start nice and high and then slowly bring the light into the object. Now, when this is completely done, you'll be able to feel the texture of the gemstones. If you prefer, you can always dome over it afterwards by providing more UV resin and then continuing to cure after pouring more resin onto the gemstones. I personally like the texture to be a little bit rough, so we'll leave them as is once this time is done. After about 60 seconds, go ahead and turn off your flashlight. We're going to want to cure the backside for just another, we'll say 30 seconds to make sure that we've cured through where the gemstones are laying down as well. Now with this, I flipped the whole piece of tape upside down and then I started to cure it again. You don't need to remove it from the tape backing just yet because you want to make sure everything is secure in place. After about 30 seconds or so, we'll go ahead and turn off our light, and then you can go ahead and peel it off to make sure that all of your gemstones stuck in place. It should peel right off of the tape, nice and evenly. And there you are. One gemstone bezel, and we can add our little necklace piece to this or make it a keychain, whatever you prefer.